Let's have a look at anticipation setups for tomorrow. Basically, the way you have to use anticipation setup is like this stock was in the anticipation setup video which I put up yesterday. So if you see here, like this is how it was setting up, and if you see today, the stock made 15.79% move. So I did enter early in the morning and I exited by the end of the day for a nice profit. So this kind of stocks, the kind of stocks which are highlighted in this video, have the potential to make this kind of move. And if you look at the stocks which were highlighted in yesterday's video, you'll see number of them had moves anywhere between 4% to 15-20%. So that's really what, how to use those. You can get in very early into these stocks as soon as they start breaking out, and then you can profit from those stocks. This is primarily for swing traders who want to look at explosive moves and to capture those explosive moves. If you capture a number of these explosive moves in a year, then it makes your year. So let's look at some of the 9 stocks which are there in my anticipation list for tomorrow. Basically, FOE Ferrocorp, which is a chemical company. Now it's setting up for possible break. Here again it was an anticipation setup. Here also it was an anticipation setup. So that's one. You have SWSC, Smith Wesson and Holding Company, which is basically again setting up very nicely for a possible breakout. Basically you're looking for a setup where this particular stock breaks out like this. Okay, obviously you're not going to wait for this stock to break out and then buy after that. If you're doing anticipation, your buy point might be somewhere here, so you'll enter much earlier and not wait for the complete breakout to happen. And because you'll enter earlier, your stop will be much closer. For these kind of setups, my stop is low of the day, so it's very close stop, and that allows you to put in a lot more money. Plus it gives you control because you are watching those setups which are under your control, as against a breakout setup which happens, which is not on your anticipation list. You have to react to it immediately, while here you have a lot of time to plan whether what kind of a position size and what kind of stop you want to use on these stocks. RLGT, another one which is setting up very well. ING, and obviously the biotechnology sector is doing well, so these biotechnology stocks our first preference. AVG is going sideways, setting up very well. RVNC, again another biotechnology play, setting up very well. Here again it was anticipation setup, and if you see in one day it made 18% move, and like in 5-6 days it made around 30% move. So that's the kind of stocks you should select for anticipation, because there's no point in selecting an anticipation candidate which is going to make 2% or 3% move after breakout. Similarly, SCKT, then you have RXTX, which is another biotechnology play, and then you have UPS, which is basically going sideways. But really the biotechnology plays are the one which I am more focused on, because they are the one which are working currently very well. In order to find these kind of stocks, you need to basically look at stocks with established momentum, and then on those stocks look for a setup which is a good anticipation kind of a setup. And the good example of what I said at the beginning of the thing is a very good example of that. Stock had an established momentum and then went sideways, and here had a very low range bar, was up less than 1.756%, and then had a explosive breakout today and followed through, and you got a 15%. And once you start doing this regularly, you will find that even though you may not every day get a 15% move, you get a lot of 5%, 10%, 8% kind of moves, and those are good enough. Like if you see this particular stock, it was in the anticipation setup here, and now in the last 2 days it has already made around 11 or 12% move. So those kind of stocks is what you want to be in when you want to get invested. You want to be in stocks which will explosively move in 2 to 3 days, 8 to 20%, and low price stocks can even make bigger moves of 40-50% in just 3 to 5 days. So that's really what, as a swing trader, my focus is.